Hi, Mr. Montaigne here, and this is the second video for area. And now we're going to actually work through some questions with parallelograms. So in the previous one, it was a brief introduction to parallelograms and how the equation came to exist, how someone thought about it. And now what we're doing is we're actually going to go ahead and do some questions. So I have 4 questions in this video that I'm going to cover, and we have some grid paper on the background here, so you're going to be able to count the squares, and you're also going to be able to do it mathematically. Okay? So before we get going, before we start doing any of these questions, you're going to need to know how to find the area of a parallelogram. So the equation or the formula that you use for this is A equals B times H, which is the area of the parallelogram is equal to the base times the height. So whenever you're working with any questions, the first thing that you're going to want to do is actually write down the equation. Okay, and that just lets people know what you're doing. If you go right into the question, well, I'll know, right? But if somebody else was to look at your work, they might not have any idea how you got that. So here I have A equals B times H, base times height. And now actually I have to find out, well, what are each of those things in our parallelogram? So this one's going with the blue parallelogram. And what I'm going to be doing is first for the base, counting or seeing which one is the base. So I have 4 centimeters here and 3 centimeters here. The base is usually the bottom line there. So in this case, I know that it's going to be 4 centimeters. Okay, so instead of rewriting that B there, I'm going to go 4 centimeters. Now I have the time symbol, and then what I need to do is put down my height. So what it is it's going to actually be the total height from the bottom all the way up to the top. Okay, now in this case, it's given to us, and that's going to be 3 centimeters. So in this case, what we have is our area is 4 centimeters times 3 centimeters. So all you need to do for this one is actually multiply it. So you multiply the numbers. 4 times 3. That gives me 12. Awesome. That seems simple enough, right? There's one more thing that you do need to put in your answers, and what that is the units. Now, in this case, we see our measurement units, and it's going to be centimeters, right? That is in both the height and the base. Now, when we are multiplying for area, the units of measurement need to be the same. In this case, they are, right? And I'm only going to give you ones that are the same. You don't need to convert between them or change between them. So I have centimeters. Now the thing that you need to do here is you actually need to add a small exponent, which is 2. So what happens here is the area is equal to 12 centimeters squared. Now the squared is really important because that actually tells anybody who's looking at it that your answer is an area. So when it's centimeters squared, this means it's a 2-dimensional space, which means it goes side to side and up and down. Again, whenever we're going through these types of questions, you follow the same steps. So the first thing I'm going to do here, and the first thing you should do, is write down the equation. So A equals B times H. Next, I'm going to find out, well, what is the base and what is the height of each? So in this green parallelogram, I have the bottom part here, which is 5, which is clearly our base for bottom, and the 3 is going to be our height. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to rewrite the equation here, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. So here I have area equals, and then I have base, which is my 5 meters, times my height, which is 3 meters. And now I'm going to go ahead and multiply this. So I have 5 times 3, which gives me 15. And then you write the units and the little squared sign. And there we have it. So my answer for the area for this green parallelogram is area equals 15 meters squared. Okay, so now I'm going to be going on to the third question for finding the area of a parallelogram. Here we go. So I'm working with the red parallelogram here. If you would like, you can actually pause the video and try to answer this one yourself before watching the rest. See if you understand what's going on. So here I have the red parallelogram. Again, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write the area. So the area equals base times height. And then I'm going to fill in that equation. So I'm actually rewriting it. Okay. So I have my area, and then I'm looking for my base. Now in this case, it's the bottom here. Oh no, I don't have a number. What am I going to do? Well, the top and the bottom part of a parallelogram actually have the exact same length. So in this case, our base is actually going to be the same as the top part here. So again, the bottom down here is the same as the top. So what that means is my base is actually going to be 1 meter. Now going on to find our height. Well, it has it here. You see it kind of has like this weird, I put dotted lines here and to the side, and then I have that square. So the square means that it's a 90-degree angle, so it means that they're perpendicular, which means that they're kind of running into one another at a perfectly 90-degree angle. Okay? So that's actually going to be, the 4 meters is going to be for the height. And if you haven't guessed it already, so each one of these squares here, 2, 3, 4, is what I'm using to determine the height, or what I determined to use the height before I wrote it down, okay? So in this case, I know that my height is 4 meters. So I'm writing it down. Okay. And now I actually have to multiply the two numbers. So in this case, I have 1 meter times 4 meters, which is 4 meters, or 4. And then I write down this symbol of measurement, in this case meters, and the little squared sign. So in this case, my area for this red parallelogram is going to be 4 meters squared. And now we're on to our last parallelogram, which is the yellow one here. And again, before I do anything, I know that it's area for parallelogram, so I'm going to write down my equation. Area equals base times height. And again, what I'm going to have to do is look at my picture of my parallelogram and find out, well, what is the base and what is the height? So I'm looking here, and so I have one number that is 7 millimeters and another one that is 2 millimeters. And I have to determine which one is the base and which one is the height. In this case, I'm going to say that the 7 millimeters is going to be the base, and the 2 millimeters is going to be the height. So we have 7 millimeters for the base times my height, which is 2 millimeters. Okay. And now I can answer it. Okay, so I have 7 times 2, which is, you guessed it, 14. Write down the symbol of measurement, which is millimeters, and then square it. And there we have our answer here for this last question, which is the area for this yellow parallelogram is 4 millimeters squared. All right. Hope you enjoyed. See you later.